We got it.
We're here. We're ready to go. Happy Wednesday, folks. Kelly, how are we feeling after a pretty monstrous day in college basketball yesterday? I'm not gonna lie. I know that my Kentucky tweet kind of went viral, but you had that last minute Penn State literal no reason for him to toss up that three, but did anyway and covered for you like chef's kiss at the end.
Those never happen for me, by the way. I'm always on the losing end of that. I cannot tell you one time that's ever went my way. So long story short, I was at dinner last night for a girlfriend's birthday, and our good friend Adam was texting me, and I was like, "Nah, we're dead." I don't think Penn State scored for 6 minutes or something, and that's just how college basketball has been for me. And I was like, "We're dead. This sucks. I'm not going to watch." And I'm walking to valet, and I get a text from Adam that they hit a three. I go on Twitter, and I'm like, holy mother of God, I deserve that. And that's why I tweeted, because I was like, you know what? I have been on the wrong end of that so many times, particularly this year. The scoring droughts, the second half collapses. It has just been an abomination. And so you know what? Gambling gods, thank you. I needed that just to have a winning night, because I hadn't had a winning night since last Wednesday, I believe, the last day we did money shots with Stu Feiner. So it was nice to get that. And I'm sorry about Kentucky. If you're going to dribble it out, just dribble it out.
I wasn't even on it. I was just happened to be flipping through, I had one more game to go. I had nothing to watch. So I was like, fuck it, I'll watch the rest of this game. And boy, did that look little sketchy. I'm not going to lie there. That was something else. I'm so happy I was not on that game.
But this is a serious question. Now, I never played collegiate basketball, so maybe I don't have the answer here. So if somebody in the comments can tell me, what's the point? Now, I know why they do it in the NBA, right? Because it benefits their stat line. And sometimes they do it in college because it benefits their stat line and thus subsequently increases their draft stock. But what's the point after the buzzer rings to just dunk it? Is it just a cocky thing? If you're gonna dribble out, just dribble out.
I would agree with that 100%. The fact that he dunked it after the buzzer felt like such a slap in the face. And again, I didn't have the game at all, period. But if I would have had that game, you best believe you and I were both not good at losing. So I could only imagine if you and I, one of us, were on either side of that game last night, especially the Kentucky side. But look, South Carolina ended up covering. So I guess congratulations to the bettors who had the plus 10.5. You prevailed, but just by the skin of your teeth, and probably some money lying in that kid's pockets if I had to.
Megan's out here accusing college athletes of not getting paid in nil money, but actually by illegal bookmakers or some sort.
I think it could have just been factored into their deal, right? It's like, all right, if you're sponsored by, I don't know, Arby's is like, all right, we really need you to throw that Kentucky game, but we'll just throw in an extra $25,000 for a bonus, if you will. Who knows? I'm not saying that it happens. All I'm saying is it definitely could happen. And it looked really fishy last night. But congratulations to Kelly on that Penn State cover, and also just killing the game yesterday. That's why you need to watch money shots. If Kelly's hot, I'm usually not. If Kelly goes on a little cooler, which doesn't happen very often, hey, sometimes I come up with some picks every
Saturday was a rough day for me. I told you not to bet 14 games. If I would have bet 14 games, I would have basically been 7-7. But you bet 14 games and had a good day. So look, I'm done. I'm done giving you advice about being a responsible bettor.
I listen. I promise. I do. Especially during football. But sometimes the old me gets the best of me, and I see money in my account, and my little fingers just start doing the work. And then I end up on 14 games. I'm like, well, shit. Okay.
Here we go.
Let's roll
have ourselves a Saturday.
Tight butthole, as I said. Let's you gotta keep it tight. But we will get back into college basketball here in just a second. I'm gonna go ahead and switch directions completely from college basketball to adult NFL football, which, you know, got a Super Bowl coming up. And I'm not going to lie, the amount of people that I'm seeing talk about the Bengals and Joe Burrow really starting to rub me the wrong way. As you guys know, I've already said it. I'm on the Bengals plus the 4.5. We've seen that number go to 4.5, like 3 times within the last 24 hours that I've noticed. It could have done it 45 times, but you know, not looking at that line movement constantly because I'm not a dweeb. But I don't know, Kel. I'm starting to get nervous. I've already given out my official play, which is, as I said, the Bengals plus the 4.5. I want to hear what you have to say.
So, Megan, I pretty much told myself that this Super Bowl is going to suck. I don't know if I'm going to bet the side or the total. I think it's going to be kind of a snooze fest. I think it's going to be one of those hard-fought defensive games. If you guys watched on Monday, I said I really like the over 3.5 field goals. I think it was plus 135 at the Barstool Sportsbook. And I do think that it is kind of square, right? Like a lot of our friends, our media members, if you will, are all on Radio Row this week. And that's all I keep hearing. Everybody's texting, what do you think about over 3.5 field goals? So it kind of makes me a little apprehensive, but that is going to be one of my best bets for this week. But as in regards to the side, I'm kind of with you, right? I'm looking at this Bengals team. I'm going, okay, their defense has definitely improved, right? The biggest problem the Bengals had this year were some of their defensive back woes. And we saw them throughout the playoffs make great adjustments, particularly on the defensive side of the ball. We saw them do it against Tennessee. We saw them do it against Kansas City, both in the second half. I hate that I cannot get to the window with the dog here. And that is because pre-kick, I think that they get down early, which is what we've seen them do. Now, is that like my Joe Public brain coming into play? I don't think so. I made the Rams -6. So on the flip side, I should be wanting to bet the Rams. Let's talk about the Rams, right? They're arguably one of the most complete teams in the NFL. We know how great this defense is, right? Are they a better defense than the Titans? Maybe, maybe not. But we know that they're star-studded. They, by all means, should be having a field day here with a young, inexperienced quarterback, right? Then you got to look at it. Is Joe Burrow inexperienced? Not really. This kid has been on the big stage before. This is not something new to him. Now, while the Chiefs fans thought he was cocky by saying the SEC stadiums are louder, maybe he's not wrong here.
I've been in Death Valley at night. I will say I've never been in Arrowhead, but that's
Arrowhead's not that loud. But hey, I went as a Broncos fan during the Peyton Manning era, and they got quieted very quickly.
Well, all I'm saying is I'm getting chills thinking about it. I have been in that stadium. And look, I don't even think it was even I think it was maybe half full for Coach O's last game. And whenever we scored that winning touchdown, it sounded like every single fucking seat was filled. Like that stadium gets so loud. I don't know whether it's all of the alcohol. I don't know whether it is echoing off of the Mississippi. I don't know whether it's just in the water, but that stadium, if I had hair on my arm, it would be standing. But that stadium gets.
Do you also shave your arms?
I do. So a mean boy in 7th grade. He told me I had really hairy arms. So fuck you, Will Acker. I'm doxing you right now. You told me I had hairy arms, and to this day, at almost 30 years old, I still shave them. Fuck you.
That is hilarious. I don't know if that's why. I also just don't like body hair. Anyway, that being said, speaking of stadiums, Megan. Look, this is a stadium that I've made fun of when it was the soccer stadium and the Rams and the Chargers were playing in it in God knows where, middle of California. Now they've got this beautiful SoFi Stadium, and it's still the same result. Half of the opposing teams are able to go to that stadium to cheer for their fan base. SoFi is not loud. I don't think it's going to be loud. We all know that who goes to the Super Bowl? Giant corporations. They give it out to their donors. They give it out to their big customers. That's who gets invited. This is not going to be some rockin' stadium, right?
This is perfect scenario for LA. LA is just like, hey, everybody important, come here and act like you don't give a fuck about this game.
Yep, exactly. And let's talk about the travel factor, right? We know that the Bengals just got there. It was kind of an interesting thing because usually teams get there the week before. Bengals waited a couple of days for whatever reason. That's what they decided to do. The Rams player is going to sleep in their own beds. Now, normally I would say that benefits them. But let me tell you what a little birdie told me today is going out in LA. my favorite player in the NFL, Von Miller, is having a party. Does anybody else remember Von Miller's parties from Denver? I bet you Chad Kelly does. Jalen Ramsey also having a party. So there's like guys that just no regards to, I get it. Don't get me wrong. Jalen Ramsey's played in Super Bowl before. Von Miller's played in Super Bowl before. But I really kind of am like, should you guys be hosting parties this week? I mean, where's your mindset at?
And I will say, well, home field is usually a great advantage. This Super Bowl, you have to worry. Big games, you got to worry about getting tickets for your friends, your family, your friends' family's family. You got to make sure that you're appeasing everyone. And I know in the NFL, you have people below you that are generally doing that, but your close friends are hitting you up. Your mom's hitting you up. Your dad's hitting you up. Your brother's girlfriend's hitting you up because, they haven't talked to you in forever. And no, I hadn't heard the rumor about Von Miller having a party.
It's definitely not a rumor. It is happening, and I'm here for it. And like I said, I do see this being an interesting thing. Now, granted, before I had a friend that played for the Steelers. They were 13.5-point favorites in that Super Bowl. They stayed out playing poker until 4 o'clock in the morning. They had to be at the stadium at 9 a.m. Kind of one of those scenarios where they were a little hungover, a little tired. Guess what? They didn't cover. They won the game, but they did not cover. And that's kind of these narratives that are playing out in my mind. And I'm like, I want to gather some more information. It's only Wednesday, Megan, and I don't really love a side. So why do I need to get to the window on it? This is how I see it playing out. I'm going to have 7 to 10 prop bets before it's all said and done. I'm going to bet somebody at the party the coin flip because I want a little action right out of the gate. I'm going to figure out maybe some.
Go ahead and take that touchback prop too. That'll help you right out the gate as well.
Absolutely. Like there's going to be some fun stuff. We've got the Parlay Plus going on at the Barstool Sportsbook. So I'm going to definitely put one of those guys together.
And the Overs Club. That's big deal too.
Absolutely. So I think that there's so many different ways to bet this that the side to me, look, we could easily see the Bengals get down 10-0. And I'm looking, I'm going, Bengals plus 7.5 in game, huh? Where those things that we've seen these little narratives play out. Look, the Bengals defense, as I said, they got fucking torched by Patrick Mahomes. Absolutely torched in that first half. And guess what happened in the second half? They made adjustments. And I wouldn't be surprised to see this being like a first half over because everything's going to be a defensive minded game where both defenses really come to play in the second half. In regards to the side or in regards to the total, we can talk about that as well if you're ready.
Yeah, whenever you're ready, you can go ahead. I also want to throw out there, I am very happy about the Von Miller party because I know that OBJ is such a self-centered, I don't want to say dick because he's never done anything to me, but he's just so self-centered that, he's going to make the party about him and he'll probably be out so late and he probably will have a awful Super Bowl. So sorry, only one Tiger can win the Super Bowl.
Are you going to do your LSU prop for the Super Bowl? We're going to have that where LSU players score a touchdown?
I have not gotten with Westy. I know that we are working on some exclusive stuff, but we haven't figured out exactly what we want to do yet. But we'll be prepared for some fun stuff coming soon. But go ahead. Let's talk about the total because I know you and I both, you said on Monday, and I also agreed, I think it's going to be a slower game. It could be a field goal fest, as you said, with your over 3.5 field goals. I feel like we're going to start slow and maybe end a little faster. I think we have a second half game. Seems kind of square of me to say just because the Bengals seem like kind of a second half team. And that's obviously who I'm going for with the plus the 4.5. But I want to know what you think of the total and why you think, I know you think it's going to be under.
So you have to kind of wonder here where my thought process is in regards to the total of who I think is going to step up. We've got Joe Burrow, who has deserved everything that he's gotten this year, right? He has put on an absolute clinic. We've seen him air it out. Stafford, same narrative, leaves Detroit, all of a sudden is having an immaculate year, despite the back spasms, despite the interceptions and a few fumbles. But I do think that that's how this plays out, right? Do I think Matthew Stafford is a legit Super Bowl winning quarterback? And in order for him to do that, we need to see him have another big game. We saw him have one against the Bucks. We saw him have a great second half against the Niners, though he did have a couple wonky passes that I was like, wow, maybe his back isn't 100%. By the way, the Niners, the only team to cover and not win during the playoffs. It's really interesting. And I told everybody this weeks ago. Playoffs is just pick the winner. The winning team usually covers the spread, whether it's the underdog or whether it's the favorite. And the Super Bowl is no different. The spread has not come into play, but 4, I believe, of the last 31 Super Bowls. I had it written down earlier, and I apologize that I don't have it right in front of me at this very moment. But I thought that was really crazy to think about. So, look, if you think that the Bengals are going to cover, I think you bet the Bengals on the money line. If you think that the Rams are going to cover, I think you lay the 4. I think that's personally how I see it playing out. That being said, back to the total. Matthew Stafford, again, had a monster day. I don't know if he's going to have a monster day here, right? This is, again, a Bengals defense that when I called my dad earlier, you know what he said to me, Megan? Oh, well, the Bengals defense sucks. The Rams are going to win the Super Bowl. And I'm like, since when do they suck? They sucked week 8. Sure. But they've really made a lot of adjustments here, particularly Von Bell. And I know that I'm taking his under tackles, but that is only because the bookmakers are giving him half too many. I think he comes up with 4 tackles total and maybe gets a half tackle with an assist. So I feel like there's some value there on the under, mainly because he was the star of the show in the overtime. He got the interception against Patrick Mahomes for the Bengals to march downfield, kick that game-winning field goal. That being said, I just don't see Jared Goff being this play from behind type quarterback, right?
That's Stafford. Sorry.
Jared Goff.
I know.
This is where my brain's at.
I didn't want you to get killed in the chat.
No, I'm already getting killed.
Before you fucking...
I think Matthew Stafford, this is where my brain is really at, is going to channel his inner Jared Goff. And that's why I think this is going to be a low-scoring game. I don't see him being able to air it out like we've seen against some of these defenses. I do think this Bengals team is very prepared for this Rams team, and I think they're not getting any respect. I'm going to take both defenses and say that under 48.5 now, while I missed the initial line move, is my thought process. Now, I will say this. I had the under in the Bengals game, if you remember. I was at the Barstool Bar in Chicago, River North, and I told everybody, I said, I love this under. And right, like middle third quarter, I felt sick to my stomach because it was, even though the Chiefs hadn't scored in the second half, I was like, this is nuts. This is where the Bengals are coming roaring back. And the live bet was under 60. And I think we're going to see the same thing in the Super Bowl. Now, I know you and I see the first halves being differently. I do think that both defenses will settle in the second half. In the first half, I could see it being over the total. So I'm not going to bet that because I don't want to bet against myself, but I'm going to keep an eye on the end game here. And if we start to see some mid-50s, I'm going to be betting the under. And I do think we will see this. I do believe that we will see a couple field goals in the first half, a couple big touchdown passes, hopefully for your sake, from Joe Burrow. But I do think that this is going to be an interesting tale of two halves, right? Where the defenses, both of them, step up in the second half. And so I'll be looking to live bet the under. But now 48.5, even some 48s out there, makes me just a little nervous.
Okay. On that note, on multiple notes there, I have some fun stats to throw out there. So obviously a big key for the Bengals is going to be stopping Cooper Kupp, keeping the ball out of his hands. And I have a stat here. In games where Kupp has gone or hit or gone over 125 yards, the Rams are 8-0 in those games. So we have to keep Cooper Kupp in a fucking box. We have to completely try to just nullify him, make him imaginary. If that's possible, I don't know. Obviously, we have T. Higgins, we have our side of the Bengals, and we have Jalen Ramsey that we think is going to be on Chase. But Jalen Ramsey can't be the whole secondary, right? Like he can't cover everyone. Next little stat, which I think you might have been looking for, was underdogs in the Super Bowl of 3 or more points are 5-1 in the last 6 Super Bowls. And y'all want to know the one? Can you guess it?
Read me the stat again.
Underdogs are straight up in the Super Bowl, 5-1 last 6. Do you know the one that didn't win?
There's the Rams.
Falcons, 28.
Oh, the Falcons. I had to work that day. See, as I mentioned, I've had to work every single Super Bowl forever. That's right. I remember I walked in the party. It was 28-3, and I was like, "Oh shit! All these Patriots fans are going to be pissed." That's crazy.
And then also, just another quick fun stat. I know this is postseason, but the Bengals are like the third best covering team in the NFL. So they covered what's like 64% against the spread this year. So while I agree with Kelly that the play would be Bengals money line, if you want to be safe, it looks like the dogs have been doing what they're supposed to be doing here in the Super Bowl. So obviously my play officially Bengals plus the 4.5. I don't know if they were favored over. No, they weren't favored over. They were dogs, which is what I said. So I was reading a comment. But that's my play on the Super Bowl. Kelly, I know you said that you're going to try to wait in game to see results. But if you had a lean right now, if I had I don't want to say a gun to your head because that sounds really bad. But if I did, what would you lean?
I would take the Bengals plus 4.5. This is a Rams team that I did have against the Bucks, but I've been really great with the NFC West. That I looked back at my spreadsheet the other day. I was doing some housekeeping, if you will, to see where I was really bad and where I was really good. You know where I was really bad? Betting against the Bengals. I don't think I got a single Bengals game correct last year. And look, this is just a team. I don't ever like hearing when media members are like teams of destiny. That's been killing me over the last couple of days. Just like all of these talking heads talking about Joe Burrow. And I'm just like, zip your lips. Don't say another word. Don't ruin a good thing. Okay. Just shut up. I think the problem is now they've thrived as an underdog, right? Like all of a sudden now people needed to see this playoff run to jump on board. My problem is I made the game 6, so I should want to be on the Rams. I know some really sharp guys that bet Rams money line. I can absolutely never in my life suggest that. I think the current money line at the Barstool Sportsbook is minus $2. That's gross. I'm never going to tell anybody to lay that. I wouldn't lay it on any prop bets. I wouldn't lay it on anything else. But I will say that they bet it minus 185 early. But I do think that this narrative makes me a little nervous. And I think it is built into the line here. But look, they've been clutch. They've had some late game drives. And both times, particularly, their defense has stepped up against Ryan Tannehill and even Patrick Mahomes. And let's be honest, Matthew Stafford falls somewhere there in the middle between those two guys. As far as a quarterback goes, we'll see. Hopefully I can get some good intel. Maybe the ice baths aren't helping Matthew these days. Maybe there's some distractions off the field with all these parties.
You've already manifested him being Jared Goff, so I'm going to go ahead and let's hope that he stays in that particular mindset. All right, so those are our Super Bowl plays. If obviously Kelly says she's going to have some in-game plays, she leans Bengals plus the 4.5. If I had a gun to her head, which I don't, I never would. And I've already made my official play, so that is the Super Bowl. If you go back and watch our episode from Monday, you can get some prop bets if you'd like, all of which are from us here at Money Shots. And you can find that at the Barstool Sportsbook. Okay, on to some basketball for the day. What have you decided to play? Because I have been looking at your list here, and I've been kind of excited because I'm not going to lie. There's one play that I really liked here that I didn't put out that I was like, I'm going to wait for Kel to tell me if she's actually on this one or not. How many did we go with here today?
So I gave you 6 leans that I was working on before the show. I kind of had a late start this morning. Grandma's staying with me this week, and I had a couple other normal shows that I don't normally do on Wednesday. So I was like, okay, here's what we can talk about on the show, Megan. I'll let you know what I actually got to the window with. And this is full disclosure. I haven't bet any of these yet. I will tweet it out because I am so sick of thinking I'm getting early to the window and then the line ends up moving a point or 2 or 3 even in the other direction. Or even my new favorite one is people being announced out. 13 seconds. I click send. I just get on the app and I click send and it does a spin and then somebody texts me, you know that TCU's best player is out. Now that didn't end up mattering last night, thank God, but it still is rather infuriating and doesn't make you feel confident about your bets. So I had 6 games that I was looking at. I did narrow it down to 3, and sometime in between now and tip, I'm going to tweet them out. But I just want to be 100% sure I'm not going to get any surprises.
Okay, so let me see if this one was the first one that you decided to go with. Did you end up taking Rutgers?
I am going to take Rutgers, Megan. Now, Look, this is like one of those quintessential like trap games, right?
Mhm.
Rutgers off that Michigan State win. Can they replicate two in a row? You've got the Buckeyes who have been outside of that Purdue game, essentially rolling, right? I told everybody against Maryland, I'm like, I just really don't want to step in front of the Buckeyes here. This is an interesting team. The problem is here for the Buckeyes is they have their arch rival who they hate, Michigan, on deck. So situationally, I don't think that either side favors one team. But I will say this, I love to see some of the lines come down. Now, we saw this Rutgers team the other day. I told you guys I wanted to bet them against Michigan State. The line opened 3 and it closed 1.5. And guess who wussed out? Me. Not wussing out this time. This one opened 4. It's down to 3. I do think that we will see this Rutgers team who's been really great at home, won 8 of their last 9. I do think Rutgers +3 and even a little sprinkle on that +120 at the Barstool Sportsbook is going to make my card today.
All right, I might have to follow you on that one. I didn't touch that game as of now. Game that I did touch, I like Wake Forest. I got them -3. It is at now 3.5, -112 at the Barstool Sportsbook. Deacon Demons are 5-1 ATS. I know you love these. Last 6 Wednesday games. All right. And then you have the Wolfpack that are 1-7 ATS, their last 7 Wednesday games. I'm sorry, 8 Wednesday games, if I can count correctly. This is just a better Wake Forest team overall, both sides of the ball. They've had a little trouble in conference play, but the trouble they had was against Duke and Syracuse. To legit Duke elite, Syracuse, we see some eliteness. We've seen flashes of the Boheims can stay healthy, then I guess maybe they can become possibly elite. But yeah, I like Wake Forest here, -3. I think they should get the job done over this NC State team that is just 7-20 ATS, their last 27 overall. What do you think, Kel?
Normally, Megan, I'd say this looks like a trap game from hell. This one smells really bad, like stinky feet or fish or something, because you got an NC State team that has just been terrible. They got blown out by North Carolina, just absolutely embarrassed. Then they come home and they lose kind of a close one to Syracuse, and then they just drop another one to Notre Dame. This is a NC State team that has really no home court advantage. They're 10-14 on the season, and their defense is so bad. I think this one looks very trappy. I'm not going to be on Wake Forest. They have been rolling, as you mentioned, outside of a couple of just trappy games, if you will. Duke and Syracuse, 2 of the best teams in the ACC. But yeah, this one stinks. But I'm not brave enough to take NC State here, so I'm with you. Wake Forest or pass.
See, and like I feel like, as you said, February is the month that just like depletes your bankroll. And this last couple of days, I mean, it's been rough. I mean, since Saturday, I've been trying to not think long and think wrong. I've been trying to just go with I wouldn't say immediate thought, but my immediate thought then after I do my little research and then just go with that instead of thinking or overthinking everything. And I feel like I might have been maybe not either doing as much research as I should be doing, or maybe things are just starting to take a turn in college basketball. Up next, did you decide to take Seton Hall today, or did you decide to pass on that one?
I ended up passing on Seton Hall, Megan, and that's just because I essentially missed a line move from 3 to 3.5. Now, obviously, this isn't football where 3 to 3.5 makes a big deal, but it does to me. That half point of value here means something. This is a Xavier team that I don't want to disrespect by any means because they have been absolutely solid this season. We know that they're good on both sides of the ball. Now they're on the road, which is kind of where they tend to falter. And that's why I'm looking at this team going, okay, I like Seton Hall. I like what I see from them defensively. More importantly, I made the game 3. So I was looking for a situational standpoint to back Kevin Willard's squad. Just couldn't get to the window. Saw it was 3.5 at the Barstool Sportsbook. And I said, all right, fine. I'm just going to cross this one off the list.
Speaking of crossing them off the list, I had everything highlighted and it just went away. So I'm going back to see what game, because I like to try to go on the Barstool Sportsbook rotational order. I feel like I'm not the A type of personality like Kelly, but I do like a little bit of order to my bets. I like to know what's coming first.
Really, you wouldn't say that you're as anal as me when it comes to organization and spreadsheets.
No, I would not.
I bought myself these glasses so that because I look at the computer screen so much, but I just don't feel like I'm that nerdy that I need to wear them.
I think you look really cute, like a hot teacher.
I also hate the reflection of the computer screen in them. It drives me crazy.
Looks like you're gonna give me detention. Ooh. All right. This is the game that I wanted to take. God, I don't want to take it when it was +6. Baylor, K-State. Tell me that you decided to pull the trigger on K-State +7.
I do hate myself that much, Megan. In fact, I'm shocked that I do hate myself this much. If you remember the last time these two played, K-State had played KU in Manhattan the Saturday before. They played Baylor Tuesday. K-State had a 13-point lead at half to KU and just swindled it away per usual in Bruce Weber fashion. I was furious. They did cover, but they did not win the game outright. So, of course, they lost that game twice. They went into Waco and got absolutely waxed. This is a Baylor team. Look, nobody wants to bet against Baylor, right? In theory, yeah, well, guess who just got waxed by that same Kansas team, Baylor. And I think this is a situation where Baylor loses that game twice. I did bet K-State +7, and I'm even going to sprinkle a little bit on the money line.
I like that play.
I hate K-State basketball. This is full disclosure. Like, you just go through my Twitter feed and people are like, can't you just be happy they're having a winning season? I'm like, no, as a matter of fact, I cannot.
Well, I'm happy LSU ended up with a win last night. Woo. As we're going to talk about that. But I liked it +6. I feel like that game, I don't know. Something feels off with that game to me. And I don't know what it is, but Baylor laying 7 at K-State. Very interesting. Kelly hates herself. She's taking K-State. I might hate myself with you and also go pull the trigger on that real quick.
I will say this. I do think that K-State's defense needs to get a little bit more credit, right? Now, Nigel Pack has just been an absolute beast for K-State. The guy's been playing his ass off. And now Mike McGurl is one of my favorite players. I need him to step up tonight. But defensively, we've got to give this team a little bit more credit. And as Megan knows, they can defend the 3 ball. What does Baylor do well? Well, here we go. They shoot the 3 ball. I think this is going to be a lower scoring game, which does benefit the dog.
Woof, woof. And that's +7. That's not just a few missed free throws. You got some room to breathe there. Up next, I'm going to go ahead and take Tulane +10 at Memphis. I know that Memphis has recently gotten healthy. They're a complete team, and they've been rolling. However, I just feel like this Tulane team isn't getting the credit they deserve. I feel like bookmakers are still kind of undervaluing them a little bit here. I think they're 5-0, last 5 games, 4-0 ATS, last 5 road games. It's not like they can't play on the road. I know Memphis is tough. And not to mention, I don't know if you saw my retweet of the Tulane jerseys for tonight, but
I did not. I'll go check that out.
Going to be feeling themselves. They are like tricked out Mardi Gras uniforms. They have the fleur-de-lis down the side. They're green, purple, and yellow. Look, obviously Memphis is the more talented team here, but you're giving me Tulane +10. There's sprinkling a little Mardi Gras festivity, a little pizzazz. Gets everybody kind of in a good mood. I'm sure you played sports in high school. Whenever you got a new uniform, you just felt better. You just played better. Or a new pair of cleats, even if they weren't broken in, you felt like you played better. Actually, I don't know. I had a pair of cleats that I only would play in those cleats. But I will say new uniforms did make me play better. At least I thought so. But I like Tulane here. +10. Memphis could fucking roll. However, look, Tulane's been playing tough, and they've been hanging in games, so I like them here.
I can't name a player on either team. That's not a brag. That's actually embarrassing for myself. But I'm with you. You can look good, play good. I actually, looking at this, I think Tulane in the first half might be a better play. Tulane usually comes out of the gate firing, and I may join you there, Megan, just in a little roundabout sort of way.
I would love that. I would love to have you on my team anytime KIV is on the Triple M team. She's happy to be here. Happy to have her. All right, up next, another dog I'm taking. I like Ole Miss +6 at home. This Tide team has not covered. 1-8 ATS last 9 games, and now they're laying 6 at Ole Miss. This Ole Miss team kind of reminds me of Tulane. They just don't quit. They kind of grind stuff out. Don't get blown out. This is kind of I kind of want to say I want to sprinkle on the money line here a little bit too. I think Ole Miss could pull it off. But I'll stick with the +6 at home. I like this here. What do you think, Kel?
God, is Alabama the most infuriating basketball team ever? Yes.
When I bet on them, yes.
Yes. I literally want to break my TV. I have watched more Alabama basketball than any other team this year, and I literally hate them within the depths of my soul. Sometimes I love them, but not very often. I can't tell you the last time I loved them. Yes, when they beat Baylor. That was the last time I loved this team. But against Kentucky on Saturday, I was just like, what are you guys doing? And that is because they live and die by 2 things: 3-point shooting and free throw shooting. And when they suck, they suck. When they're great, they're great. And that is the tale of this team. This is a really good Mississippi defense, Megan, and I think that they deserve a little bit more credit. My only concern is they just went to overtime and lost at Florida. I do think this is quite a few points, though. I'll lean Mississippi here with you and just to play against Alabama after that absolute ass kicking that Kentucky just handed them at home in Tuscaloosa. So I'm with you here. I can lean Ole Miss. They didn't make my card because I did make the game 6. So unfortunately, I just had to pass.
All right, so that is all for my card. I know you said that you have 3. You've narrowed it down to 3. So I know we've gotten through 2 games. I'm going to go ahead and just assume, and maybe I'm wrong, and please obviously correct me, but that you're taking the Gophers.
I am not taking the Gophers.
Oh, wow.
You taking the Gophers. I love this Minnesota team and also hate them subsequently from the other night because I lost by the hook because I bet the game too freaking early. That being said, I really wanted to make a case for them over Nebraska, but I do think that loss, up big at halftime to just basically just have a complete and utter scoring drought against Iowa. I mean, that was their game to win. I made Minnesota 3 here. So Minnesota -1. I almost have to go, whoa. What is up here? Is this a trap? Like, I almost kind of like mind fucks you a little bit where you're like, what am I missing? If Minnesota does not turn the ball over, which in theory, they're one of the best teams offensively to not do that, they should be able to throttle Nebraska. I just have a concern that after that Iowa loss, but mind you, this is also their 4th loss in a row. Ohio State, Wisconsin, Purdue, Iowa. This has just been a gauntlet of Big 12 basketball teams. I don't think they're going to have much left in the tank. So as much as I wanted to bet Minnesota here going, okay, I'm getting 2 points of value, I kind of wonder if what they have left. And so I ended up passing. What I did end up taking, though, was Oklahoma. I took Oklahoma plus the 3. And look, I don't love Oklahoma. I'll be honest.
Does Texas Tech have some injuries? I was trying to figure that. I don't know why this line is 3. I haven't bet it yet, but I'd be straight lying to your face if I said that I was looking at Oklahoma. Definitely looking at Texas Tech and with lots of question marks. Like if there was a bubble that popped up, just add like 400 question marks because I have no idea why.
So as of right now, they do have a couple of guys that are questionable. Arms is questionable, Shannon Jr. is questionable, and Calhoun is questionable. So my thought process is this. If those guys do get announced in, I think we'll see a line move. As I mentioned, I haven't personally bet any of these yet, but instead we saw this one go from 3.5 to 3. It tells me somebody sharper than I am, somebody's got some good intel. Look, Oklahoma used to be such a great basketball school because of Lon Kruger. Lon Kruger's now gone, and what happens? They've lost 8 of their last 10. This team is ugly. The last winning game was a week ago at West Virginia. Then they got smoked by Auburn in the SEC Big 12 little deal that they do. I had TCU versus them. Everybody told me I was crazy on Monday. That was an easy win. And then I had Oklahoma State on Saturday. That was one of my only little snippets of hope. And I apologize I didn't tweet it out. It's because it was not my play. I got it from a good friend, but I did. That was like my one snippet of hope was that Oklahoma State. I'm going, what am I missing here? This little 3-point line move. Now it's on the other side here. And I think the whole world's going to be on Texas Tech. I do think that this is the trap game of the day, and I could be dead wrong. Texas Tech could blow them out, but I'm going to take the bait. I'm going to take the Sooners here, and God, are they just such a lowly team. But defensively, I know that they have it in them. Back home in Norman against one of the best teams in the Big 12, Texas Tech. Surely we're going to get everything from Oklahoma, right? Right? Is that too much to ask for? You at least, even though your season's not gone the way you want it to, you're going to step up against big name opponents. We're going to cross our fingers here. Plug our nose. I'm not going to watch a second of this game because it's going to be just ugly. And hopefully I get to cash that ticket.
Well, you know what? I'll just stay away from that game completely so that I don't have to cheer for or against you, because I really feel dirty whenever I have to like literally cheer.
You know, I did feel really bad because I saw early in the morning that you were on Michigan State yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, like they were 4-0 ATS after a loss. Tom Izzo, like I talked myself into that game, literally like I was writing like and just talked to myself. Right.
I saw that you were, and then I tweeted it out. Jack was like, "Hey, do you happen to have 3 dogs? Do you want to do a promo?" And I was like, "Actually, I do." Marquette was kind of the trappy square game of the week, but I just
that one looked good though for a minute. I was also on Marquette.
You know, it looked like crap at half. I thought I reverse jinxed it. I thought I was gonna get. What can you do? Anyway, Wisconsin was my only bright moment, and that was just because it was a play against Michigan State. And I apologize. That was not my initial thought process. I had seen it in the morning that you were on them, and I do feel bad when we were head to head.
Don't ever apologize when we're head to head, because one of us ends out a winner, and it's up to these fine people in the comments to find out which one is which.
There you go.
So again, if you want to see my plays, they're on my Twitter. Kelly will tweet hers out after the show. She leans the Bengals plus the 4.5. I have already taken them. God, please be good to me. We'll see you guys on Saturday morning for our little basketball pre-tip show where we give you guys picks and hopefully they hit and you make some money because this is Money Shots, where we are literally taking shots with our money. We'll see y'all Saturday, and best of luck.